There are many theories about a land called Lemuria, Pacifica, or Mu. Most of what is written about Lemuria is metaphoric, linking to the patterns of creation and sacred geometry. It is about spiraling consciousness that moves from higher frequencies of thought, a higher harmonic, to slower, lower frequencies as we experiencing many places at the same time. As with Atlantis, one has to wonder if Lemuria ever existed in the physical realm, or is it just a metaphor, to remind us that outsouls are experiencing multidimensionally, some of which we believe are other planet experiences. As is above, so is below, all being polarity of experience. As we have the Atlantis in the Atlantic region, we must have its Pacific counterpart, Pacifica. All realities are created based on the digits of sacred geometry, the blueprint of all we experience. As an opinion, Lemuria is a grid program that exists parallel to our own. Those who feel linked to it, are more than likely experiencing in both realities simultaneously. In truth, Lemuria, from our perspective in third dimension, is theoretical and will not merge with us, until a point at which we expand our consciousness to fully understand all of our multidimensional experiences. We are moving to that end now. Stone markers are found in our reality, to remind of ancient and lost civilizations, in which we coexist. In the end, we awakening to our true nature. The hermetic seals of consciousness, so to speak, are opened with a bang, the end-time scenario of an explosive ending. We instantly spiral consciousness back to greater understanding of all. Many see this as the movement into a golden age, the gold being a metaphor for alchemy of consciousness into awareness, the blue and the gold, the blueprint and the alchemy. When we see ourselves back as the Lemurians, we are seeing ourselves in higher frequency. One must not forget that time is an illusion that brings depth to physical experience. All happens at the same time. James Churchward, in books such as The Lost Continent of Mu, 1931, wrote that the motherland stretched from the Hawaiian Islands to Fiji and from Easter Island to the Marianas. Churchward considered the non-modal site on Pohnpei Island one of the 7 sacred cities of Mu. Today its ruins sit on a swampy lagoon filled with mangrove trees. Rising about 30 feet in height, black volcanic stones weighing many tons are stacked crisscross like a child's frontier fort. It's one of the more enigmatic sites in the entire Pacific, yet archaeologists cannot explain how it got there. In the 1970s, Tony Earll's Mu Revealed, one of countless books written about the sunken civilizations Atlantis, Mu, and Lemuria, claimed to be an astonishing account of the archaeological discovery that proves the existence of Mu. From the cover. When the Herdlup expedition began excavating, it was with the hope of proving or disproving James Churchward's startling theories about Mu, the ancient lost continent of the Pacific. What they found was beyond their wildest expectation. The diary of Cland, a young priest who had emigrated from Mu before its destruction. Painstakingly restored and translated, the diary scrolls provide breathtaking glimpses into the everyday life of Mu at the height of its splendid, doomed culture. According to David Childress' various esoteric sources, the first civilization arose 78,000 years ago on the giant continent known as Mu or Lemuria and lasted for an astonishing 52,000 years. It is sometimes said to have been destroyed in earthquakes generated by a pole shift which occurred some 26,000 years ago, or at approximately 24,000 BC. While Mu did not reach as high a technology, supposedly, as other later civilizations, it is, nevertheless, said to have attained some advanced technology, particularly in the building of long-lasting megalithic buildings that were able to withstand earthquakes. However, it was the science of government that is sometimes said to have been Mu's greatest achievement. Supposedly, there was one language and one government. Education was the keynote of the empire's success, and because every citizen was versed in the laws of the universe and was given thorough training in a profession or trade, magnificent prosperity resulted. A child's education was compulsory to the age of 21 in order for him to be eligible to attend citizenship school. This training period lasted for 7 years, so the earliest age at which a person could become a citizen of the empire was 28. Earthquake-resistant walls were important all around the Ring of Fire, in ancient Mu. It is claimed that the elders of Lemuria, known as the 13th School, moved their headquarters prior to the cataclysm to the uninhabited plateau of Central Asia that we now call Tibet. Here they supposedly established a library and school known as the Great White Brotherhood. In her book The Secret Doctrine, 1888, Madame Blavatsky claimed to have learned of Lemuria in the Book of Jinn, which she said was composed in Atlantis and shown to her by the Mahatmas. However, in her writings she gave Philip Schlater the honor of inventing the name, Lemuria. Blavatsky located her Lemuria in the Indian Ocean about 150 million years ago. She may have obtained her ideas of a sunken land in the Indian Ocean from Sanskrit legends of the former continent of Rudas that sank beneath the sea. But the name Rudas sounds too spiritless and uninspiring to have held such a prominent place in cosmic history. Blavatsky placed her third continent of the third root race in the Indian Ocean between Madagascar and Malaysia. Surprisingly, many scientists of her day concurred and even came up with the name, derived from lemur, the ghost-like primates who supposedly lived there. Blavatsky described the Lemurians as the third root race to inhabit the earth. They were egg-laying beings with a third eye that gave them psychic powers and allowed them to function without a brain. Originally they were bisexual. Their downfall came about after they discovered sex. The myths and traditions of India abound with references. The Rig Veda in particular speaks of the three continents that were, the third was home to a race called the Danavas. A land called Rudas was an immense continent far to the east of India and home to a race of sun worshippers. But Rudas was torn asunder by a volcanic upheaval and sent to the ocean depths. Fragments remained as Indonesia and the Pacific Islands, and a few survivors reached India, where they became the elite Brahmin caste. The Austrian mystic Rudolf Steiner claimed that during the 6th and 7th subraces, of the third root race, colonies were established as far away as Easter Island. The continent girdled much of the Pacific near the equator, and thousands of island peaks remain to mark its former glory. Edgar Cayce made a distinction between Mu, which floated off the coast of Baja California, and Lemuria, whose location is confusing to say the least. According to Cayce, the Andean, or the Pacific coast of South America, occupied then the extreme western portion of Lemuria. Either he meant eastern, or Earth's land masses have changed a lot, perhaps due to a pole shift or crustal slippage. The channeled entity Seth spoke of a civilization called Lumania on the island of Mascara, whose mountain peaks today form Indonesia.